Today I'm going to show you how to make this little gummy bear all in one piece. No sewing involved. Let's get started. So to start off, we're going to make the slip knot. Wrap it around your fingers. Push it through. And put that on the anchor peg. We're going to do a drawstring cast on. So you're going to go behind the first peg, in front of the second peg, behind the third peg, and on like that, all the way around. When you get to the first peg, you're going to go behind it again and in front of the second peg. And then you're going to knit off every peg that has 2 loops on it. So we're just going to lay it across the third peg because there's nothing there. Knit over on the fourth peg. Knit over on the fourth peg. When you get to row 1, see there's nothing on the first peg, so you're just going to lay it over the first peg, and then you wrap onto the second peg, and that'll anchor it in place. So for row 1 to 3, you're just going to U-wrap knit. So you half wrap your peg and knit over. And you're going to do that for 3 rows. Once you have your 3 rows done, for row 4, we're going to knit 3, and then make a scallop stitch. This is going to be the ears. So you're going to mark the next 2 pegs with stitch markers. Pop those over. That's your first row. Oops. And you're going to do, let's see, 9 rows over those 2 pegs. So we've got 1. Now we're going to do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got your 9 rows. Take your stitch markers and bring them back up. So now there's going to be 2 loops on each of those 2 pegs. And we're going to leave those there for now. Next we're going to knit 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So now you're going to do your second ear. I'll show you again just how the scallop stitches work because there's a few of them. So you put your stitch markers on, pop those over. That's your row 1. And now you're going to do 9 rows. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. and then you bring your stitch markers back up, and now there's 2 loops on each of those pegs. And then you're going to knit 3 to finish the row. You can release the anchor peg now. So now for row 5 we're going to knit over all those loops. So you're going to knit 3, and when you get here where there's 2 loops, just scoop them both up, knit over. If it's a bit too tight, you can knit over one at a time. Doesn't make a difference. And then you just keep knitting your row. You're going to get to the 2 loops again, and you can either do them one at a time or both at the same time, and then you can finish your row. Row 6 to 16 is just knit, so I'll see you in a minute. Okay, once you get row 16 done, you're on row 17. We're going to make another scallop stitch, so we're going to knit 2, mark 3 pegs with stitch markers, pop those over. That's your row 1. And we're going to do, let's see, 15 rows. So here's row 2. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's a lot of rows, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Ignore that for a second. So we're going to bring these pegs, stitch markers back up, and when you have more than 2, it's best if you start from the outsides, and then the middle ones will be easy to pop back on. When you get up to like 4 and 5 stitch markers, if you do them in order, the last one's going to be really difficult. So do the outside ones and then the middle ones. So now we've run out of yarn. So to add on more, I'm going to make a slip knot on some more yarn, put it on the next peg, tighten it, tie a knot with these 2 tails, 1 and 2, make sure that's nice and tight, hold on to those 2 tails, pop that slip knot off, make sure you don't lose your loop, and then pull the slip knot out, and now you've got a nice tight knot here, and you can continue knitting. And these tails you can just ignore because they'll be on the inside of your work. No one's ever going to see them. So now we keep knitting for 15 rows, 14, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, which is one too many. So if you need to go back, scoop up your loop and take it off, and while you're holding your cast on your working yarn, bring the whole thing forward. It'll pop back your old loop on, and then you can just pull it out. Now we're going to mark 3 pegs with stitch markers and do his other hand, but I didn't take these off, so we're going to do that. You guys know how to do scallop stitches now. So you're going to do 15 rows on these 3 pegs, finish your row. Next row you're going to knit over all of your loops, and then keep going, knitting until you've got 25 rows. Once you've got your 25 rows, for row 26, we're going to knit 11, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we're going to mark 2 pegs. This is going to be the tail. You're going to knit 13 rows on these 2 pegs. Bring your loops back up with the stitch markers, and then finish the rest of your row. For row 27, we're going to knit 2, mark these 3 pegs again. You're going to do 19 rows on these 3 pegs. Continue on your row, knit over all of these loops just like before, and then for 14 rows, and then these 3 pegs, 14 pegs, and then these 3 pegs, you're going to do 19 rows again, and then knit 2, and then keep going until you have 32 rows. Okay, once you've got your 32 rows done, it's time to cast off. So we're going to wrap the loom once to get a nice long tail. Cut it. Now you're going to do the drawstring cast off. So you're going to half wrap your peg, knit over, and then take that loop and pull it through. Knit over, pull through. Knit over, pull through. And we're going to do that all the way around. So now we're going to stretch our stitches because it looks like this. And that's going to give it some better shape. So we're going to take the cast on tail, which was up next to the ears, and pull on that. If it won't go all the way around, you can manually do it. And once it's gone around once, it's generally good to go. You can see he's starting to take shape already. So make sure that's nice and tight. Thread your needle. And we're going to go and turn it inside out. And then make your knot. You can stuff the tail inside there, you don't have to cut it, it's just extra stuffing. Now we're going to add the eyes and the nose. So hold your bear. And work out your placement. Think that looks good. Hold them in place while you flip it inside out again. And then you can add the backs. There's his little face. So now, make sure all those tails are out of your way. We're going to stuff him. I like to overstuff mine. Make sure he's nice and full. Tighten that. Thread your needle. Make sure that's pulled nice and tight. Make your knot. And then you can send the needle through to hide that tail. Now, almost done. Take the ear and stretch the stitches on one side. That'll give him a nice little cupped ear. And then you're going to sort of pinch and tug at these to shape them. See the difference? Now, the way that the scallop stitches work, you are going to end up with holes. You can sew these up if you want, but the fluffy yarn just kind of hides it, so I usually don't. There's your little gummy bear. All done. Oh, don't forget his tail. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.